Okay, so another car blog, if you will. You should be seeing probably Fear and Hunger gameplay if I decide to edit this video. Edit's a very loose term. I spent a solid 2 hours playing Fear and Hunger, which isn't really spending 2 hours working, but I work a full-time job and I don't feel like coming home and working some more. So yeah. I guess relating to the gameplay, you're saying Fear and Hunger 2 is a pretty fantastic game. I must admit, I like it a lot. Speaking of Fear and Hunger, I've gotten into this lore called the King in Yellow, which actually relates to one of the century characters in the Fear and Hunger mythos, whose name is, spoilers for Fear and Hunger 1 and 2. His name's Lagarde, and he starts off as a sort of miner. I don't know if miner is the correct term. He's sort of like the motivation behind all the characters in the first game, and he's the major antagonist in the second game. And it's pretty sick because there's like a 400-year time gap between the two games, and Lagarde kind of ascended to godhood. But in my opinion, Lagarde bears a striking resemblance to the King in Yellow, which is I don't want to say Lovecraftian, because that's not what he was originally depicted as. I've read the book. Well, the book's name is The King in Yellow. It's a pretty good book. I read the first, I think, 2 stories in it. I liked the first one a bit more, to be honest, because there's enough mystery and intrigue where you're like, oh, I don't know where the fuck this is headed. So it was a very enjoyable read. It didn't overstay its welcome. There was enough mystery and intrigue to keep me going. So yeah. Other things I like about Fear and Hunger 2. The combat's pretty good. The first game, in my opinion, has better combat. I don't know if that's true, actually. The thing about it, you can do a lot more things in Fear and Hunger 2 than you can in 1. Fear and Hunger 2 has an overall, it has a better art style. I don't even know if I'd say that. I think the art's better in Fear and Hunger 2, but I think the art direction's better in Fear and Hunger 1. The vibes are there. The vibes are less cool in Fear and Hunger 2. Don't get me wrong, the vibes are in Fear and Hunger 2, but they're not as cool. Okay. Yeah. Ooh. Yep. It's a sort of blanket period where I'm trying to think of things to say. My first video is a bit more raving. I was raving a bit more in my first video, but this one's a bit more somber. I'm enjoying my ride a bit more. And I decided that I'm probably gonna start, making YouTube videos. But yeah. Yep. I might edit this part out, but yeah. So, one thing I really do like about the King in Yellow is the idea that there's a lot you can put into it, and there's a lot you project into it. We never find out who the King in Yellow is, or what Carcosa is, which is the place he's from, apparently. Or maybe not even that. It's a place that's referenced in the book within a book. If you don't know, The King in Yellow is a story about a play that drives people mad. And we never actually get to see the play. We only get to see its effect on the people who read it, which in my opinion is a really cool idea. And that's where, also it was written in 1985, which is fucking insane. Which is literally fucking insane. Actually, it's not that surprising, but oh boy, because writing's been existed since the dawn of time. But it's just kind of a cool, a dude 100 years ago wrote this, and it still holds up. You know what I mean? I guess it's not because as a gamer, games have only existed for the past 30 to 40 years is pushing it. There's not any 40-year-old games, really. I think the oldest game was made in the 60s. I don't even think, did they have video games in the 60s? I might be speaking on my ass, but I don't think arcades maybe. But books, they go back like fucking like 4,000 years. Yeah, you know, and that's what makes reading, in my opinion, fascinating, because you get it's like a sort of time capsule where you can experience like past traumas, past like sort of like, you know, mindsets, past cultures, in a way you can never you can never find out through history books. You know what I mean? Like, you have to imagine that some guy sat down in 1985 and wrote about this. You know, and it's pretty sick. I think that's it's a pretty interesting like vibe. It's a pretty interesting place you gotta put yourself in. And I highly recommend it. Books are very easy to pirate. Download. You can find a PDF of probably every book in existence for free. For better or for worse. I don't know what it is about books and written medium, but they're so easy to get your hands on. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah, today's been a long day. I'm doing like kind of quiet. I'm like extremely sleepy. Today's been a rough one. But yeah. Oh, I've been rereading some of Berserk. If you don't know, Berserk was like a manga written in like the 80s or the 90s. I think it was the 80s. Manga written in the 80s, and it like paved the way for like a lot of dark fantasy. It's fucking rad. While we're reading it at the moment, I'm on the Conviction arc. I've been going volume. Each week I read a different volume, and right now I'm on the Conviction arc. It's pretty fucking like Guts is a super fucking cool character. Of course, I already read the story. Rereading these chapters make me realize how Kentaro Miura kind of did Casca dirty. He really just fucked her over. Like, instead of developing your character, he decided, like, you know what, I'm just gonna, like, leave you on the back burner, and, like, use you to develop other characters. And don't get me wrong, I like to think that he sort of improvised a lot of the Golden Age, but he sort of had a lot of the other arcs, like, sort of, like, I want to say planned out, but he already had, like, thoughts of how they'd go. And, you can sort of feel the black sword, like, the super edgy Kentaro Miura style of writing poking through the Conan the Barbarian style of writing, a witch with brain injuries using the power of her demon child to summon like demons is such it's so dark fantasy, and he used Casca to fill that archetype, because there's really no role for Casca other than that. It kind of feels like that was like forced on her. I feel like if we didn't get the Golden Age and we were introduced to Casca during the Conviction arc, I'm not sure how that would change our interpretations of her character. Because on one hand we'd be like, oh my god, this character has so much intrigue and mystery, and they're tied to Guts somehow, and they can use the brand of the sacrifice like to fight people somehow. And that'd be kind of sick, and what's this demon child, and, it would build a lot of intrigue, and, in my opinion, I think we got the Golden Age a bit too soon, which, it's the best arc it's one of the best arcs in Berserk. It's definitely the top 3. I hesitate almost to say it's the best arc, because Berserk has a lot of good arcs, has a lot of good parts. One character I do like a lot that we get introduced to, not in the Conviction arc, but in the what was it? What was the name of the arc? Right after he fought the elf child thing. After the Lost Children's arc, he meets Farnese. And Farnese is one of the better written characters in Berserk, which is crazy because there's a lot of Farnese is like one of my favorite characters, and it's probably the best written female character in Berserk. Sorry, Casca fans, it's true. Her character arc going from like a person who is super close-minded and directionless and uses her faith as a sort of like Fernie's just an awful person starting out. And seeing Kentaro Miura tear her down and all of her comfort mechanisms and then building her back up via Casca, it's super cool. And I like it a lot. Her like learning how to protect other people and learning how to actually be a hero. I struggle with hero because I don't think Farnese was ever made for the archetypical hero, but her like rising to action to protect Casca is super cool. Even though, also one of the things I really love in like one of the later chapters of Berserk, whenever Casca regains her memories and Isidro challenges her to a duel and she just like one-shots him. I think that's a response to like some edgy power scalers. She's like, well, based on the power scaling Berserk, I think Isidro would fucking slam Golden Age Casca. And it's like, and Kentaro Miura's like, no, that's dumb. Casca's strong. I do kind of like that. I do wish Casca was given more agency in her character, because she kind of feels like a way for Kentaro Miura to develop other characters, which sucks. And I get it. When it comes to the apostles and like general demons, only Guts can really stand up to them, and that's kind of the whole entire point. Guts had to sort of like go through a lot to sort of even stand up to apostles, and so like having Casca just be able to like cut them in half with ease, be kind of like, I don't want to say cheap, but it definitely undercuts the themes Berserk is trying to go for. When like fucking trolls are like genuine threats, and you need to be like fucking like Super Saiyan Guts to take out like a generic fucking like Kelpie, you know what I mean? So like having Casca just like turn up and like cut things in half would be kind of cheap. Which sucks because in the newest chapters, Casca is like once again relegated to the damsel distress role, which is kind of disappointing because we've been waiting so long for Casca to like regain her memories and actually become a character again. And not to imply that like Casca without her like memories was like not a character, but she didn't have any agency. I do think she was cool. I do think she was like fun, but she wasn't Casca, you know what I mean? And not having Casca, it's kind of lame. And I get it. Kentaro Miura probably didn't know what to do with her character. But yeah, it's just kind of lame. Berserk is pretty cool though. Berserk is pretty cool. I think it's like one of my favorite stories. I know I spent like a lot of this video complaining about it, but I do think Berserk is like one of the better like seinen series. Another good seinen. I'm not sure if you call it a seinen. I know for damn sure it ain't no shonen. Vinland Saga, it's kind of goated. In my opinion, it's a genuinely wholesome. I want to say like a historical fiction story, and it does a pretty good job, doing that, in my opinion. Thorfinn is a super, I'm sure a lot of people relate to. It's great. Vinland Saga is a pretty great show. I recommend you go watch it. The anime is pretty good. The manga is pretty good. I think a lot of people like Vinland Saga for good reason. Vinland Saga is kind of Kino. Another since seems like stories of self-discovery. Mob Psycho is pretty good. I watched the first two seasons. The first season being like a sort of introduction to the whole entire cast and characters, and the season 2 being sort of a takedown of all the tropes that was put in place in the season 1. It's kind of fucking sick. But shoot, other things to talk about. Yep. Yeah. But I imagine you're still seeing Fear and Hunger gameplay because I recorded like 2 hours of fucking footage for that fucking game. But yeah, it's a pretty good fucking game in my opinion. I like it a lot. I think a lot of people like it a lot because it's genuinely a fantastic game, and not just story wise, which it's a masterclass in storytelling. It's a genuinely fun RPG. Like, the whole entire limb system is super fun. The like punishing mechanics are super cool, and the day system has a lot of potential, which I think needs to be expressed more. I think it'll get better whenever the updates come out. He really needs to do he needs to start adding more content to each day and making the days make a lot more sense, in my opinion. But overall, I think Fear and Hunger 2 is a great game. It's just not really finished yet. It hasn't reached its peak. I think Fear and Hunger 1 took like 6 years until it was perfect. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have Mahabre in the first version of the game. So yeah, Fear and Hunger 2, once it reaches the epitome, I'm not sure that's the real word, of what it's meant to be, it'll probably by far exceed the first game. Some people already think it's better than the first game, and I'm a bit more skeptical. I think the first game's like a masterclass in storytelling. One thing I do think is kind of fucked up about Fear and Hunger 2, which I think could be better, is there's not enough endings. Like in Fear and Hunger 1, literally abandoning your quest or giving up and leaving is one of the endings. You can just say, fuck this shit, I'm out, and then leave. Like at the midway point of the game, you can say, fuck this noise, I'm out of this, I'm done. Which is super fucking cool, because that's the ending everyone's gonna get on their first playthrough. Fear and Hunger 2 has an ending that's similar to it, but you know what I mean? It's not as cool. What I do wish there was an ending for is, I wish there was like a super easy ending. I wish there was an ending where if you got like halfway through it, you can just leave. Cause like that would, or having the moon score, like having like you turning to a moon scourge, that being its own ending. You know what I mean? Like failing to do your quest would give you an ending. So it would reward you for going through the 3 days, but you know what I mean? So you can be like, oh, I beat the game in like 2 seconds because but yeah, I think that would be a pretty fun idea. I'm also running out of time. Yeah, I'll say this: Fear and Hunger 2, not as good as the first game in my opinion, but as soon as it actually gets its updates, it's whenever whenever Miro, I think it's the name of the developer, finishes his game, he adds all the contestants and fleshes it out. I think it'll far exceed the first game. At least that's my hope. Anyways, I'm about to I'm running out of recording data, and I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm checking out. Goodbye.